Yo, what is up, guys? It is John, and I'm back giving you another MLB The Show tier list. Today we'll be doing the catchers. So for today, we should be getting a double upload. First video will be the catchers, and the second one will be the first baseman. So it'll probably come out about 15 or so minutes after this video comes out. Catchers wise, there's not many amazing catchers, or I mean, there is a lot of pretty good catchers that you can use early on in the year. Usually it's the opposite way around, but with the face of the franchise program, there's a lot of catchers that you can use. So might as well get into it. And like always, if you have any differing opinions, I would love to hear it in the comment section below. If you like a player more than where I rated them. And as always, at the end of the video, I'll quickly go through the list. So if you want to just skip to the end to see the rankings and why I put them there for a quick summary, you can always do that. But let's get right into it. So Sal Perez, you're looking at a live series card that can easily get a boost to right-handed and left-handed. So like today, hopefully this works. So I have MLB to show up in my Elgato. So Sal Perez is plus 11 against lefties. So today he's 93, 120 against left-handed hitting. And with catching, the fielding stat doesn't matter as much. I haven't had a problem with pass balls or anything like that. I'm more looking for arm strength and then hitting when I'm doing these ratings. So with that, I think Sal Perez is a solid beginning to go in B tier. Saying that, his other live series not opponent, but anything, Yasmani Grandal. I'm going to put him in C tier. So the big thing between Grandal and Sal is Grandal is obviously a switch hitter. Grandal has a weaker arm and he is a lot slower. So if you're using Grandal, if you need to play him before your pitcher spot, because if he gets on base, he's just going to clog everything up. And with that said, I'm going to put him in C tier. Next up, Joe Mauer. I'm going to also put him in C tier. So as much as I love Joe Mauer, actually make sure, yeah, that's the correct Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer has great fielding, great arm, decent speed, contacts through the roof, but he has no power. With that said, he swings a wet noodle, so I would put him in C tier, but his defense is great, and obviously the collection for the cover athletes, Joe Mauer is the best catcher in the game right now. But this one, I would say C tier, serviceable, left-handed bat, but nothing too crazy. Gary Sanchez, I'm going to put him in B tier for now, top of B tier, but he could easily move A tier. Gary has all the power in the world. Last year, he also had a very, very glitchy card that a lot of people used. So I'm going to put his stats on the screen. So Gary Sanchez, you're looking at low contact against righties, which is the majority that you're going to face if you saw the starting pitcher and relief pitching tier list. Relief pitching has more left-handed pitchers, more so now. Starting pitcher only really has one, so you're going to face a majority of right-handed pitchers. But he has the power. If you're going to square it up, he's going to hit out of the ballpark. He has good arm strength and good speed, so I think that's a good spot to give him B tier for now. He may move into A, but for now, B tier. Next up, we're going to go Sean Murphy. So Sean Murphy is athletics. He has maxed out arm strength. I'm going to put him in B tier. He has 70 power, or he has above 80 power against both sides, so he will hit it out of the ballpark if you square it up. Contact's a little low, but I'm going to, early in the year with lower hits per nines, he's definitely serviceable, just like Gary. They're serviceable catchers. But that 99 arm strength is that make or break that I'm going to put him in B tier, and I'm also going to put him in front of Sal Perez. Next up, Adley. I'm going to put A tier. Adley is the reward for collecting prospects. Adley is one of the best catchers in the game right now, switch hitting bat. I love early game Adley cards. He's everything you're going to want from a catcher. Very solid. He could easily be S tier, but I'm going to leave that for only 2 names. But Adley Rutschman, great switch hitting catcher. If you can get him, get him. Next up, Jorge Posada. I'm going to put him also in A tier. So he's a 12-0 BR reward or just a BR reward. I think it's actually just a season 1 program reward. Hitting stats, Jorge Posada is the perfect catcher right now. So switch hitter, above 80 contact, 78 power against righties. But if you get him parallel 2, he's going to hit that 80 threshold. 75 arm is more than serviceable. He's a little slower, but you're not going to have the perfect catcher at this part of the game. So Jorge Posada, I'm definitely going to say is A tier. Next up, Joe Mauer, easily S tier. If you don't have Joe Mauer S tier right now in the state of the game, I can't take your opinion seriously. Joe Mauer, like, there is nothing wrong with this card except maybe his power against left. He has arm strength, good speed, 47 speed, 115, 103 contact. At this point of the game, he is the best catcher in the game. No questions about it. Left-handed bat, so you're going to be facing righties the majority of the time. And he's just a stud, to say the least. So he starts off with our S tier. Next up is Mike Napoli, who pretty much I say is like a Gary Sanchez light for the Rangers. Mike Napoli is a new card to this year's game, and I used him exclusively in that first event. Mike Napoli has great pop. He has above 80 contact and power against both sides, 62 arm strength, 35 speed. He's not going to wow you defensively. He's not going to throw everybody out. 62 arm strength is a little low, but at this point of the year, you can easily get around it. So I'm going to say he's a solid B tier catcher right now. Yeah, I would say bottom of B tier right now. He'd easily be moved to C tier, because at right now, I would think he's better than Yaz and this Joe Mauer, but worse than these three. Next up is our other S tier, Gary Carter. He's the Mets collection reward. Gary Carter, the only problem with Gary Carter is his swing is slow. So unless they changed it this year, I have not used him yet. I need just DeGrom to finish the Mets. But Gary Carter, his swing is slow. He has only 72 power against righties. Lefties is amazing. Good arm strength, good speed for a catcher. For right now, he has to be S tier just because of his overall stats. You're not going to find 95 plus power against both sides, 72 contact with righties, and 110 against left with 85 arm and serviceable speed. So he is my other S tier. Mike Piazza, so the Conquest reward. I'm going to put him at the top of C tier. I think he's very similar to Mike Napoli, just with a worse swing. Mike Piazza cards, I think last year they retoned his swing. But overall, Mike Piazza cards are what you expect. So going over it, he has above 70 contact against both sides, above 80 power against both sides, right-handed hitter, 72 contact, or 72 arm strength, and 35 speed. I think the swing is what puts him in C tier. He's not a bad catcher by any means, but if I'm comparing him to others, I would have to put him in C tier. JT Realmuto, I'm going to put him just above Sean Murphy. So 85 speed. Actually, I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to put Gary and Realmuto in A and leave this how it is. And you'll see in a little bit. But JT Realmuto, the Phillies' face of the franchise, is the oddball with catchers that you don't expect. So JT has pretty much maxed out arm, 98, 82, 73, 75. So he has reverse split, so he's better against righties, which is good for the meta right now. But he has 85 speed, which I really like. So you're not going to find a catcher with 85 speed until probably June, maybe even later, to be honest. JT is that unicorn that's a catcher with good speed, and I value that highly, especially early in the game when all the cards is diluted still. So I'm going to say he's an A tier catcher. Carson Kelly, I'm going to put in the top of C tier. Oh, let me switch back. Carson Kelly in the top of C tier, if I can ever move Mike Piazza. So Carson Kelly is an interesting catcher, to say the least, for this with the face franchise, because they gave us a ton of cards. With Carson Kelly, he has low contact against righties, good arm strength, 81, kills the lefties, but against righties, he's just lacking. He doesn't have the 80 power threshold. Even with parallel 5, you don't even get that. So for that, I have to put him in C tier just because of that, if you're comparing it. Because even Mike Piazza and Yaz both hit that 80 criteria. I'm only pretty much putting Kelly here because just how much he hits lefties better and his arms better, even though Mike Piazza is right behind him. I would say these two are pretty interchangeable, but Carson Kelly is going to be slightly better just defensively and how he hits lefties. Yeah, I would say Carson Kelly's top of C tier. Next up, Panda. I'm going to put him B tier. He's pretty much like an Adley or a Posada light version. He's above 91, so if I bring him up, he is a 91 contact, 123 contact against left or both hands, and then below 70 power against both hands. He has good arm strength and good speed for a catcher at this time. I'm going to put him at the bottom of B tier. Switch hitting, he has a great swing and good arm. The only problem with Pablo is you're going to be playing in a secondary, so he's going to be a 61 fielding, and his blocking's not on there, but I know Pablo hasn't had great blocking stats overall. So right now I feel comfortable putting him at the bottom B tier because I would rather have Pablo Sandoval than a Carson Kelly, just because of that switch hitting, and he's a little more serviceable swing-wise. Next up, I'm going to put Austin Wells F tier. What can I really say? They pretty much do all three of these. I'm going to put Castro D tier, and I'm going to put Melendez. I'm going to put him. I'm going to put him in D tier also. So compare the three. Actually, nah. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. Regardless, these three, it's pick them and choose them. I wouldn't use any of these. I would rather use one of these face of the franchise. You're sure to pull one of them in the packs. So yeah, I'm not even going to get into these three. But overall, I would say anybody above C tier, usable in the game right now. Like, very usable. Compared to like previous years, we have a lot more options and a lot more free options. If you can finish that Yankees collection for like 35K, I would use maybe 40K. Depending on, actually it's probably closer to 50, Judge and Cole. I would use this Gary Sanchez, but JT Realmuto is probably going to be free for you, so might as well just use him. For the newer cards that just came out, like this Gabriel Moreno, I'd probably rate in B tier, just because of that power contact. He has good arm, but the power is to be lacking. So you'd probably have a noodle bat. So I'd probably put him at the middle of B tier. And if I'm inconsistent with any of these ratings, it's because swings matter in this game, and I sort of have an opinion on players' swings from playing throughout the years. But no, I'll put Gabriel Moreno in B tier, somewhere's in there. Overall, not a bad card, but just to summarize this tier list, Joe Mauer, best catcher in the game, no doubt about it. Gary Carter, bad swing, but his stats make him S tier. Adley and George, great switching catchers. Adley being a little better defensively. Gary has an amazing swing, and he crushes both hands with good arm. JT is the 85 speed catcher that is the unicorn of the bunch. Sean Murphy max out throwing and very serviceable power numbers. Sal gets inside edge, that's amazing, compared to Yaz, who has no speed and no arm. Napoli has a better swing than Carson Kelly, which is why he's up here. And then Carson Kelly and Mike Piazza, I'm roughly saying, are the same currently with Piazza's swing. Joe Mauer is lacking the contact, and Pablo Sandoval is pretty much Adley Rutschman and George Posada light version with less power. And then these three, I mean, you can put these wherever you guys want. You can go these three, you go this, you go one of these. These three, I would not recommend, but anybody above here, you can use. Actually, I would say above this line. I'm not really big on Joe Mauer, to be honest, at the current state of his card. But if you want a left-handed hitting catcher, then any of these four. And that will conclude this tier list. Thank you for watching, as always. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave it in the comment section below. I would love to read it and see your opinion on this. And thank you for watching, and have a good one.